What's going on? Welcome back to the channel, and I want to do just a quick little non-spoiler review for Transformers Rise of the Beast. I had a chance to check this one out today, and first and foremost, how does it stack up compared to the other Transformers films? This one is easily my second favorite, right below Bumblebee. Bumblebee, of course, takes place in the 80s. This one takes place in 1994, and this one just blew me away. Let's just get to this one thing that I want to mention. There are two post-end credit scenes, and there was one of them in particular just blew me away. Just completely blew me away. As soon as it started happening, I kind of had an idea where they were going, but just seeing it follow through, I loved it. Absolutely loved it. There was another scene towards the end of the film that just gave me chills. I'm just going to leave it at that. I got chills quite a few times with this film. Really good soundtrack, too. Just like with Bumblebee, really good soundtrack with this film. The action is clear as day. With the Michael Bay films, and I do enjoy the Michael Bay films, a lot. Had them on Blu-ray, have them on 4K now. But one complaint that I did have about Michael Bay films with Transformers, sometimes it's a little bit hard to see the robots actually fight against each other because there's just so much going on. But this one definitely follows to it, kind of like what Bumblebee started. It's kind of, it's clear, and there is, and with the action, and believe me, there is a lot of action in this film. Now, I've heard some people say, complain about, well, they focus too much with the human element with this film. But they've all had that human element. But the characters are likable in this one as well. And I really think that even though you have that human element, you really focus probably like the first half hour or so getting to know these characters. And but you do see, you see the Maximals, at the beginning of the film. I'm not spoiling anything because we do see that's the beginning. You do see the Maximals, and then we get into the human element. But it's essential to see how these characters are to really, get a feel for this movie. But once things start going, it's full speed ahead. Great voice acting in this as well. Peter Cullen again, back as Optimus Prime, and it's just when you hear that voice, it's just amazing. It just takes you back to feeling like a kid, just hearing that voice as Optimus Prime, and to see him, doing this into his 80s. Love hearing that voice. He is a national treasure for Transformers fans. That is for a fact. And Ron Perlman as Optimus Primal, great addition. Michelle Yeoh does a voice in this film as well. Now, the one thing that I was a little bit not too sure about was Pete Davidson doing the voice of Mirage. I am not the biggest Pete Davidson fan. I mentioned it on the channel before. I'm not the biggest fan of his, with his acting in films. But you know what? I completely forgot that he was doing the voice of Mirage. Mirage steals this film in a lot of scenes. But this film, again, it's Unicron basically coming to devour Earth. Unicron is like, he's the eater of worlds, basically. And this film, there's just so much that I want to say, but you go into spoilers sometimes, if you start talking too much about this particular film. And, they do a lot of things that have been done before in Transformers films, but they up the ante. And like I said, once this thing has so many great action sequences and the characters, they don't overload you with a lot of villains, but they don't really overload you with a lot of Autobots either. Everything just meshes so well together, and the first interaction between Optimus Primal and Optimus Prime, it's like a generational thing because you have the Beast Wars and the G1 Autobots. And I cannot wait. It gives me chills even thinking about this film because, I really, coming out of the theater, seeing this, I wanted to give this an 8 out of 10. That was my initial reaction. But the more, I saw this earlier in the day, and just letting, a few hours go by, and letting this really just simmer in my mind, constantly thinking about scene after scene after scene with this one, it's an 8.5 out of 10. I would say Bumblebee is probably close to a 9, because I just think it's so nostalgia, being in the 80s, and it just feeling more like a G1 Transformer, like a cartoon brought to life. And this one just works on so many levels. And I really hope, because I know Bumblebee didn't do great at the box office, even though it had critical praise and everything. I know it didn't do good because it was coming off like the Transformers Last Night film, which again is probably definitely the least of my favorite of the Michael Bay films. But this one, I really hope people go out and see this one, because like I said, there was a post-credit scene that I think really is going to depend a lot on how this film performs at the box office and whether or not they're going to follow through with this, because I think there's something really special that can happen if they do follow through. This one, yeah, I know some people said, there's some plot holes, and there's a couple little plot things are here and there, but you know what? Giant robots are fighting on the screen. That's all I care about. And it has a pretty simple story, but it works effectively for me to make me feel like a kid in the theater. And that's what I want from a Transformers film, with giant robots beating the ever-living crap out of each other. I just want to feel like a kid again and have a good time. I went with my daughter because she loves Bumblebee, loves the character of Bumblebee. And to get her to go to a film, to go see, how much she loves Bumblebee, and how much this, seeing this film on the big screen meant to her. Her first time seeing a Transformers film on the big screen. And it was great to sit there with her and enjoy this one. So an 8.5 out of 10 for Transformers Rise of the Beast. Please go check this one out. If you've had hesitation because of the Michael Bay films, put that aside. If you enjoyed Bumblebee, you will enjoy this one, because it continues and starts building on what Bumblebee started. So definitely go check this one out in the theater. It definitely, if you can check it out in IMAX, definitely. I didn't get a chance to see it in IMAX. I wish I had, because this thing would have been, oh my gosh, a spectacle on an IMAX screen. It will definitely be added to the collection in 4K when it comes out. As soon as it gets up for pre-order, it is mine. That is no doubt about it. So, like, subscribe, and comment, the chance, and go out and see Transformers Rise of the Beast. You will not be disappointed. I'll catch you in another video. Take care.